Loneliness often feels like a heavy burden, but for some, it's a quiet strength that shapes who they are. These unique souls, often called the chosen ones, find their true power in solitude. It's in those silent moments, away from the noise of the world, that they grow stronger, wiser, and more connected to themselves. Their energy doesn't fade in isolation. It becomes sharper, more focused. Solitude isn't just about being alone, it's about discovering the depth within yourself, facing your truths, and embracing the freedom to be who you truly are. This is where creativity blossoms, ideas flourish, and a quiet but unshakable confidence is born. This journey isn't easy, but it's life-changing. Solitude transforms into a source of power that allows these individuals to thrive, not despite being alone, but because of it. Today we'll explore how solitude becomes a tool for growth, and why it's a path to strength, resilience, and a deeper connection to oneself. Some people walk into a room and everything seems to shift. Conversations slow, eyes turn, and even the atmosphere feels heavier. It's not something they do, it's who they are. These are the chosen ones, individuals whose energy carries a magnetic, almost unexplainable force. This isn't about charm or good looks, it's something deeper, more primal. Their energy doesn't just attract attention, it changes the space around them. This invisible power comes from their authenticity and depth. While most people wear masks to fit in, the chosen ones radiate truth, even in silence. Their presence feels intense because they don't live on the surface. They operate on a level where emotions, thoughts, and actions align perfectly. This authenticity makes them impossible to ignore, but it also challenges those around them. Imagine being near someone who makes you reflect on your insecurities without saying a word. That's the effect they have. People might feel inspired by them, but at the same time, exposed. This duality creates both admiration and distance. Those who are ready to face their truths are drawn closer, while others instinctively step back. Consider figures like Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King Jr. They didn't need to shout to be heard. Their energy spoke for them. The chosen ones may not always be public figures, but they possess the same ability to make a lasting impact. Understanding this energy isn't about copying it. It's about recognizing how being authentic and grounded in your truth can shape the world around you. Their power comes from being unapologetically themselves, and that's something we can all learn from. There's a quiet power in the way some people simply are. You've probably met someone who didn't need to say much, but their presence was enough to shift the atmosphere of a room. It's as if their energy alone holds weight, and when they walk into a space, everything feels different. These individuals are often called chosen ones because their influence doesn't rely on forceful actions or loud words. It comes from the depth of who they are and the energy they bring with them. This silent transformation is not a mere accident or a set of learned behaviors. It's the result of a deep, inner alignment that radiates outward, effortlessly. These individuals tend to be deeply connected to themselves, and this authenticity is what shifts the energy around them. They don't have to speak to change the vibe of a room. Simply being present is enough to command attention, create a sense of peace, or even provoke curiosity in others. Think about a time you've encountered someone who didn't say much, but you felt an unexplainable pull toward them. Perhaps they were calm in a chaotic situation, or their smile seemed to brighten the whole room. This is the silent transformation at work. Their presence alone has a magnetic effect. It's like the atmosphere adjusts to accommodate their energy, without them having to say a word. It's the energy that people pick up on without even realizing it. A sense that this person is deeply at peace with who they are, and this peace translates into a quiet form of power. What makes this energy different from mere charisma is its depth. Charisma often involves an element of performance, using words, humor, or stories to captivate others. But the energy of these chosen ones isn't just about charming or entertaining. It's about resonating on a profound, authentic frequency. It's an energy that doesn't come from external validation, but from an internal knowing of one's worth. This energy is grounded in self-assurance and a sense of purpose that isn't dependent on external circumstances or validation from others. When a person's energy is this deep, it's not about projecting an image or playing a role. It's about being fully present with the truth of who they are. This authenticity creates a ripple effect in the people around them. Their presence encourages others to be more themselves, to feel more at ease, and to reflect on their own sense of purpose. In other words, these individuals inspire transformation in others simply by being present. It's the opposite of trying to impress or influence others through forceful actions or words. It's a quiet, almost invisible influence that makes people feel seen and understood. This kind of presence doesn't just change the dynamics in a room. It can evoke deep, primal emotional responses. It taps into something beyond words or logic. It reaches into our subconscious and stirs something that resonates on a fundamental level. You might feel a surge of admiration, awe, or even a quiet reverence when you're in their presence. These emotions don't come from anything specific they've done, but from the way they make you feel, seen, acknowledged, or even challenged in a way that pushes you to grow. Consider the impact of someone like a wise mentor or a spiritual leader. When they walk into a room, you can feel a sense of calm, authority, and wisdom that goes beyond what they say. They don't need to shout or make grand gestures. Their very being commands respect and draws people in. It's as if their presence is a reflection of deeper truths that we all long to understand. It's the embodiment of something greater, and that is what resonates with others on such a deep level. A real-life example could be someone like a teacher or coach who doesn't need to give long speeches to have a lasting impact. They may not say much, but their actions, the way they hold space, or the stillness they maintain in a chaotic environment, sends a message that words can't capture. Think of a leader who doesn't need to address a group every time, but when they do speak, everyone listens. It's not the words they choose, but the energy they exude that captivates and influences. This kind of presence can be difficult to describe because it's so subtle, yet its effects are undeniable. It's almost like the difference between hearing a sound and feeling a vibration. You might not consciously hear what's going on, but you can feel it in your bones. This is how the chosen ones leave a mark on the world. Their presence does the work of 1,000 words, shifting the atmosphere, calming hearts, and stirring souls with the sheer force of their authentic energy. When you meet someone who possesses this kind of presence, it's hard to forget them. Even after they leave the room, the energy they've created lingers. Their authenticity and depth have made an impression that words couldn't fully capture. It's the type of energy that calls you to be better, to reflect on your own life, and to reconnect with the parts of yourself that may have been dormant. This is the power of presence, something that can't be faked or forced, but must come from a place of deep inner truth. It's about being so rooted in who you are that your very existence becomes a reflection of deeper truths that others resonate with on an emotional and subconscious level. There is an undeniable magnetism to certain people, a kind of energy that draws others in, while also creating a sense of distance. These individuals often leave you with a feeling that's hard to explain, but one thing is clear. They have a unique ability to both attract and repel, to captivate yet maintain an emotional barrier. It's an intriguing paradox that can feel unsettling, but it's also a part of what makes them so powerful. This duality in their energy is not about playing games or being mysterious. Rather, it stems from their authenticity and the way they show up in the world. The ability to attract people while simultaneously creating distance is rooted in the balance between openness and self-protection. These individuals possess a deep understanding of themselves, which makes their energy more magnetic. They don't need to say much to draw others in. Simply being themselves seems to pull people toward them. However, this very same authenticity can be intimidating. Their energy reflects a certain inner strength that many find hard to relate to, or they expose parts of themselves that others might not be ready to confront. This creates a natural boundary, not out of intention, but simply because their presence is a mirror to others' insecurities or desires. A major part of this dynamic is what can be described as a mirror effect. The energy they radiate often reflects back the inner workings of those around them. For some, this reflection is comforting. It offers a chance to be seen, to be understood in a way that feels safe and grounding. For others, it's uncomfortable because it highlights things they haven't yet addressed in their own lives, insecurities, unacknowledged desires, or fears. When you're in the presence of someone with such authenticity, you can't help but see a clearer picture of who you are, for better or worse. This reflection can feel vulnerable, even unsettling, because it forces you to confront the parts of yourself you may have been ignoring. One of the reasons why these individuals attract so much attention is because they operate from a deeper energy than what most people are used to. Charisma, as we typically understand it, is often outwardly focused. It's about being charming, making others feel good, or captivating them with words and actions. Charisma can be a tool to influence others, but it often remains surface level. In contrast, the energy of the chosen ones goes much deeper. It doesn't rely on gestures, words, or performances. Their power comes from their ability to be completely present, completely themselves, without the need to impress anyone. This deep energy can be unsettling to some because it's not easily understood or manipulated. It challenges the superficiality of everyday interactions and invites others to look beyond the surface, which can be overwhelming. This contrast between superficial charisma and deep, unsettling energy becomes even more apparent when you consider the emotional dynamics at play. While some people feel drawn to these individuals almost magnetically, others may feel the need to withdraw. The ones who approach are often looking for something more, a sense of connection, or perhaps a chance to experience that same deep authenticity for themselves. But for others, the presence of these individuals can bring discomfort. When you are confronted with someone who exudes this depth, it can trigger a range of emotions. Some people may feel inspired, others may feel threatened or even inferior. The truth they reflect can be too much for some to bear, leading them to retreat rather than engage. There's also a certain emotional power that these individuals have. The ones who approach may do so because they are drawn to this emotional depth. They want to be close to it, to understand it, or to learn from it. They see something in the person that they long for, whether it's self-assurance, peace, or wisdom. The energy they emit creates a space where others feel they can open up, be vulnerable, or even seek guidance. These individuals provide a sense of comfort, not through words or actions, but through the way they hold space for others, often without even realizing it. On the other hand, those who withdraw do so because they feel confronted by the energy of these individuals. This reaction is often rooted in fear of being exposed, fear of inadequacy, or fear of having to confront things they aren't ready to face. Being around someone who is so grounded in their own authenticity can serve as a mirror that exposes the cracks in their own self-image. For some, this can trigger discomfort, pushing them to withdraw and protect themselves from what feels like a threat. This isn't a conscious decision for many, it's simply an emotional response to an energy that feels both foreign and intense. Take a moment to think about interactions in your own life. Perhaps there's someone you've met who you instantly felt drawn to, but for some reason, the deeper you got to know them, the more you felt a pull to step back. Or maybe, on the other hand, you've met someone whose quiet strength and authenticity made you feel safe, seen and heard in a way you hadn't expected. This dance of attraction and withdrawal happens all the time, often without anyone even realizing it. For example, in a workplace setting, a leader might possess a deep, unwavering confidence that attracts followers. They don't need to give long speeches or make big gestures. Their presence alone commands attention, Yet there's an emotional distance. People are drawn to them, but only those who feel comfortable enough with themselves will truly connect. Others may be intimidated or feel unworthy of being in the leader's presence, and thus choose to stay distant. The energy of these individuals can create a ripple effect. It challenges the comfort zones of those around them, sometimes in ways that are difficult to process. Yet, it's this very discomfort that sparks growth. Whether people are drawn to them or pull away, their influence remains. It's the paradox of attraction and isolation, an energy that is magnetic yet distant. This is the duality of their power, and it's what makes them so unique and impactful. There's something uniquely powerful about the concept of isolation, especially when it's not forced but rather chosen. For many, the idea of being isolated sounds daunting, even scary. We're conditioned to seek connection, to surround ourselves with people, and to avoid being alone. But for some, particularly those who walk a path of self-discovery and inner strength, isolation is not a punishment, but a powerful tool. It becomes a space for growth, for clarity, and for transformation. Unintentional isolation often begins when the intensity of a person's presence naturally distances them from others. This doesn't happen because they try to push people away. It's simply a byproduct of their energy. Some people exude such a strong, undeniable presence that those around them can feel overwhelmed or intimidated. It's not that the person with the strong presence is doing anything wrong. Rather, their very essence stands out in ways that others might find difficult to understand or keep up with. Imagine meeting someone who is incredibly self-assured, who radiates a calm confidence that doesn't need validation from others. Their energy can feel so deep, so different, that people might pull back simply because they don't know how to relate. This can be especially true in social situations where someone with a strong internal presence might unintentionally leave others feeling disconnected. It's not that these individuals are standoffish or unfriendly, but the space they hold is often so rich and full that it's hard for others to fit in. It can feel like trying to walk beside someone running at full speed. No matter how much you try, you might just not keep up. This kind of unintentional isolation doesn't come from a desire to be distant. Rather, it comes from an innate sense of being in tune with oneself and the world in ways that others might not immediately understand. However, there is a significant difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is often seen as a painful emotion, a sense of isolation that comes with feeling disconnected or unwanted. People who experience loneliness often long for connection, and the absence of it can lead to feelings of sadness or even depression. It's a feeling of being cut off from others, both emotionally and socially. On the other hand, solitude is a state of being alone without feeling lonely. Solitude is embraced and even sought after by many who understand its power. It's not about being cut off from the world, it's about creating space to reconnect with oneself. For those who choose solitude, it's a conscious decision to step away from the noise of everyday life in order to listen to their inner voice. Solitude can be a sacred space where people can reflect, recharge, and gain new insights into their own lives. The key difference here is the mindset. A person in solitude is not running away from others or avoiding the world. They're simply making room for a deeper connection with their own soul. This difference between loneliness and solitude is crucial to understanding the journey of isolation, especially for those who thrive in it. In solitude, people have the freedom to explore their true selves without the distractions of external expectations or societal pressures. This is where inner growth happens. The chosen ones, the ones who seem to thrive alone, use this time of isolation to learn more about who they are beneath the surface. It's in the quiet moments, away from the noise of other people's opinions, that they discover what truly matters to them. They can ask themselves the tough questions that they might otherwise avoid. Questions about their values, their purpose, and their desires. In solitude, they can confront the parts of themselves that they may have been avoiding, and in doing so, they begin to heal and grow. This self-exploration leads to a transformation. With time, solitude refines their essence. The noise of the outside world fades, and in that silence, their true selves begin to emerge. They become more in tune with their intuition, more attuned to their emotions, and more confident in their decisions. This inner growth is not just about understanding oneself better. It's also about creating space for the wisdom that comes with that understanding. As they grow in this space of isolation, their creativity flourishes. Solitude often brings clarity, which can lead to new ideas and breakthroughs. When people aren't distracted by constant communication or the need to impress others, their minds are free to wander and imagine. This is often when the most creative and innovative ideas come to life. Many artists, writers, and creators spend long periods of time alone to cultivate their work. It's not that they don't enjoy connection. It's that the deep focus required for their craft can only happen when they can fully immerse themselves in their thoughts without distraction. Similarly, wisdom grows in the silence of solitude. When people are removed from the constant chatter of daily life, they're able to reflect on their experiences with more depth. They can process their emotions, learn from their past, and gain a clearer perspective on the present. The wisdom that comes from this solitude is often quiet, but profound. It's not the kind of wisdom that can be shared loudly or boastfully. Rather, it's the kind that is known deeply and quietly, and it often radiates in subtle ways. Those who spend time alone often possess a calm, centered energy that others find reassuring and grounding. Consider the story of famous thinkers and leaders throughout history who chose solitude to refine their ideas. People like Albert Einstein, Virginia Woolf, and even Steve Jobs. These individuals spent significant periods in isolation, not as a form of punishment, but as a deliberate choice to cultivate their thoughts and ideas. Their solitude allowed them to connect with their deeper selves, which ultimately led to breakthroughs in science, literature, and technology. In today's fast-paced world, where constant connectivity is the norm, the concept of intentional isolation can feel foreign or even unnecessary. But for those who seek deeper growth and understanding, the value of solitude cannot be overstated. It's in the quiet moments alone that many discover who they really are and what they're truly capable of. The transformation that takes place in this silence is not just about personal growth, but also about refining one's essence and gaining a clearer sense of purpose. For those who embrace it, isolation becomes not something to fear, but something to be valued for its power to transform. Solitude can often be misunderstood as loneliness, but they are two entirely different experiences. While loneliness is the painful feeling of being disconnected from others, solitude is the chosen space to be alone, and it can be a powerful force for self-growth and reflection. For many, the idea of being alone is uncomfortable, but in reality, it can be one of the most transformative experiences in life. Consider people like writers, artists, or thinkers who thrive when they are alone. It's not that they dislike people or are trying to escape society. Instead, they seek solitude because it gives them space to think deeply, create freely, and recharge. Many creative individuals spend long hours in isolation, not as a form of avoidance, but to focus on their work without distractions. For example, author J.K. Rowling spent significant time alone while writing the Harry Potter series. It was in her solitude that her ideas began to form and take shape. The power of solitude lies in the quiet moments when the mind is free to wander and reflect. In our fast-paced world, filled with constant noise and distractions, finding a few minutes of solitude can be incredibly valuable. Without constant input from other people or devices, you have the opportunity to listen to your own thoughts and reconnect with your deeper self. There's also a deep level of self-discovery that happens in solitude. When you're not surrounded by other people's opinions or expectations, you begin to hear your own voice more clearly. You become more in touch with what truly matters to you, your values and your goals. You're not chasing after approval or trying to fit into someone else's mold. Instead, you have the freedom to understand your own desires and aspirations. In addition to self-discovery, solitude fosters mental clarity. Many people find that they come up with their best ideas when they are alone. Whether it's solving a problem at work or coming up with a new project idea, the peace that solitude offers allows the mind to think creatively and connect the dots more effectively. It's no surprise that some of the world's most innovative thinkers, like Albert Einstein and Steve Jobs, often sought solitude to refine their ideas. Solitude also offers an emotional reset. Being around people all the time can sometimes drain your energy, especially for introverted individuals who may find constant social interaction overwhelming. In solitude, you can recharge and restore your emotional balance. It gives you the chance to let go of stress and reflect on what's important to you without external pressures. Finally, solitude teaches resilience. When you are comfortable being alone, you become more self-reliant. You learn how to enjoy your own company, how to comfort yourself in times of difficulty, and how to stay calm in the face of uncertainty. This self-sufficiency can translate into greater confidence and emotional strength when interacting with the outside world. Choosing solitude doesn't mean isolating yourself forever. It's about creating intentional space to focus, reflect, and grow. Just as a plant needs time to grow roots before it blooms, we too need time alone to strengthen our inner foundation before we can truly thrive. Solitude, when embraced, becomes a tool for transformation, a chance to become more aligned with who we are and what we want out of life. Solitude can be a powerful tool for growth, but it requires an understanding of how to make the most of it. When embraced intentionally, it becomes an empowering experience rather than something to avoid. People who thrive in solitude often understand this principle. They actively choose moments of isolation because they know it allows them to recharge, reflect, and tap into their true potential. Consider the act of choosing solitude as an opportunity to step back and reconnect with yourself. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world entirely, but carving out intentional space for peace and self-reflection. Think about a busy day filled with meetings and social interactions. By the end of it, you might feel mentally drained, even if the interactions were positive. Now imagine being able to step away from that chaos, sit alone with your thoughts, and simply breathe. That moment of calm allows your mind to rest and reset, giving you clarity and the energy to approach challenges with renewed strength. The role of solitude in fostering creativity and resilience is often overlooked. For many, solitude is the fertile ground where new ideas grow. Without the constant noise and opinions of others, the mind has space to wander freely and think outside the box. Many famous artists and writers, like Virginia Woolf, found inspiration in their time alone, using solitude to channel their creative energy. It's no coincidence that some of the most innovative ideas in history were born in isolation. Additionally, solitude strengthens resilience. When we're constantly surrounded by others, we often rely on external sources of comfort or reassurance. But when we intentionally spend time alone, we learn to rely on our own inner strength. It's in solitude that we confront our deepest thoughts, fears, and desires. It's where we learn to be comfortable in our own company, building emotional strength and self-confidence. This isn't always easy, especially when we feel vulnerable. But it's precisely through these moments of solitude that we build resilience and learn to navigate life's challenges. One key aspect of solitude is the difference between voluntary and forced isolation. Voluntary solitude is a choice, a moment you've decided to create for your own well-being. Forced isolation, on the other hand, often feels like a punishment or something beyond your control. The shift in perception when solitude is voluntary is significant. When you choose to be alone, you take ownership of the experience, which gives you a sense of agency and control. In forced isolation, however, the lack of control can lead to feelings of frustration or anxiety. The power of solitude lies in the ability to choose it as a tool for personal growth. So how can you use solitude for personal growth? There are several ways to integrate moments of reflection into your life. One effective practice is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, emotions, and experiences allows you to process them more deeply. It's a way to clarify your intentions, reflect on your day, and understand your own mind. Another powerful practice is meditation. Spending a few minutes each day in silence, focusing on your breath, helps to quiet the mind and brings clarity. Solitude also offers a chance to tap into your inner wisdom. Without distractions, you may find that your intuition becomes clearer. Trusting this inner voice can guide you toward decisions that are aligned with your true desires. Whether it's choosing a career path, making personal decisions, or navigating relationships, solitude can help you connect with what feels right for you without outside interference. Incorporating solitude into your life doesn't require drastic changes. It's about finding small, intentional moments of peace throughout your day. It could be as simple as taking a walk alone in nature, turning off your phone for an hour, or spending a few minutes sitting in silence before bed. These moments add up over time, and they give you the space to cultivate clarity, creativity, and emotional resilience. By choosing solitude, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Instead of constantly reacting to external pressures, you create the space to live intentionally. It's an empowering practice that allows you to recharge, reflect, and grow. When it comes to relationships, quality truly matters more than quantity. Having a few deep, meaningful connections is far more fulfilling than many surface-level ones. These deep bonds provide the emotional support, understanding, and authenticity that shallow relationships simply cannot. For example, think about someone in your life with whom you can share your true self without the need to impress or hold back. This type of connection is rare, but it's the kind of relationship that nurtures your growth and well-being. Chosen ones understand the importance of seeking out relationships that align with their values and support their essence. They prioritize authenticity, making sure their bonds are built on mutual respect and shared understanding. These relationships are not about fulfilling societal expectations or superficial connections, but about fostering an environment where both parties can grow and support one another. However, balancing these deep connections with solitude can be tricky. When you form meaningful relationships, it's essential to preserve your energy and maintain the space for self-reflection. This means knowing when to step back and recharge, while also giving time and energy to nurture the bonds that truly matter. It's about finding harmony between connection and solitude so that both can enhance your life. The power of solitude is not about isolation. It's about creating the space to connect with your true self and strengthen the relationships that truly matter. By embracing moments of quiet reflection, you tap into your inner strength, sharpen your focus, and become more intentional with the people you surround yourself with. Chosen ones understand that deep, meaningful connections are more valuable than a vast network of acquaintances, and they prioritize those who truly support their growth. You now have the insight to reclaim your time, prioritize self-reflection, and cultivate relationships that nurture your soul. By taking action today, you can start living more intentionally, focusing on quality over quantity, and empowering yourself through both solitude and connection. The first step is simple: embrace the stillness. Take a few moments today to disconnect from distractions and reflect on what matters most to you. As you move forward, remember that your journey is uniquely yours. Take charge of your time, your relationships, and your life. Start with small changes and watch how they can transform your world.